The legend of Pahit Lidah,
the curse that changed everything.
South Sumatra.
Once upon a time, in a small village in South Sumatra, there lived a man named Serunting. Serunting was no ordinary man.
He was known for having a sharp tongue,
One that could curse anyone who faced him with anger and rage. Because of this, he was nicknamed Pahit Lidah,
which translates to the bitter tongue. However, this power did not come easily.
He had gained this ability after a long and painful journey full of betrayal,
hardship, and of course, inner struggle. The beginning, the conflict with his brother-in-law.
Serunting was a simple farmer living in a fertile village.
He had married a beautiful woman named Ayu,
who hailed from the Semendo tribe. Their marriage initially brought peace,
and the relationship between the tribes grew stronger.
However, this happiness did not last long.
Everything started to change
when Serunting had a dispute with his
brother-in-law, Raiden Suleiman, who was also a farmer.
They quarreled over the boundary of the land they managed together. The argument began with something trivial, but grew bigger and uncontrollable.
Serunting, this crop is mine. I planted it with hard work.
This land belongs to me, not you.
Raiden Suleiman,
no, I planted it first.
You came here later and want to claim everything.
They agreed to settle the matter by seeing whose crops would thrive better. Serunting worked tirelessly every day,
while Raiden Suleiman used underhanded tactics to sabotage Serunting's plans,
hoping to win by deceit.
But fate had a different plan.
Serunting's crops wilted and failed to thrive,
while Raiden Suleiman's grew abundantly.
Serunting lost the bet.
He was ridiculed and mocked by everyone, his heart filled with anger.
Meditating in the forest, seeking power.
With his heart filled with rage, Serunting left the village. He journeyed deep into the dense forest,
far from civilization, to seek peace and strength.
He chose a cave on a hilltop, a place secluded and serene, to meditate.
There, he meditated for years, praying for the strength to change his fate.
He prayed tirelessly,
hoping that God would grant him the power to avenge the wrongs done to him,
but not with reckless actions. One night, after years of meditation, Serunting received a vision in his dream. In the dream, a great tree spoke to him. Great tree, the power you seek does not come from anger. Use this power wisely. If you do not, you will lose more than you can imagine.
Serunting awoke with mixed emotions. He felt a change within him, a sense of enlightenment that brought peace to his heart. A new power, a new journey.
After years of self-imposed exile, Serunting returned to the world.
Now, he possessed the power to curse anyone who was unjust, but he had control over it.
He no longer spoke harsh words recklessly,
though his sharp tongue still had the potential to change the world.
In a nearby village, he heard rumors of a village chief who oppressed his people. The village chief extorted money from the villagers, taking half of their harvest by force. Village chief, you all owe me. Hand over your crops. I have the right to everything.
Serunting did not stand idly by. He approached the chief and spoke calmly. Yet his voice carried immense power. Serunting, you oppress the weak. Therefore, you shall become a stone that cannot move or speak. Effects, thunder rumbling, a large stone crashing down. In an instant,
the village chief was transformed into a large stone that stood in the center of the village. The villagers, who had once been fearful, now felt relief. From that moment on, the village became peaceful, and the cruel chief was a warning to those who would oppress others. The curses continue. Silence within the heart.
Serunting continued his journey, visiting other villages.
In each village, he saw the same injustice. A dishonest merchant who cheated the people. A leader who exploited his power to enrich himself. Each time Serunting encountered these people, he used his bitter tongue to curse them. turning them into stones or trees that could not move. However, the more curses he cast, the lonelier his life became.
No one dared approach him anymore. The children who once played with him now ran away in fear.
The villagers who had once respected him now avoided him.
Serunting felt alone. He questioned himself. Serunting monologue. What is the use of this power?
I have no friends. No one listens to me. Only curses remain in my wake.
A meeting with his brother-in-law. Regret in the heart. One day, Serunting returned to the village where he had once lived. He wanted to see his brother-in-law, Raiden Suleiman.
But this time, it was not to fight or curse,
but to find peace within a heart that had become empty over time.
He met Raiden Suleiman at his farm.
His brother-in-law was now old, and his eyes were full of regret.
They spoke in silence, as if words were no longer necessary. Then Serunting spoke softly.
Serunting, I did not come for revenge.
Let the past be a lesson for both of us.
Raiden Suleiman bowed his head,
as if he understood that their lives had been filled with mistakes. The two of them sat together, without speaking, only the peace beginning to touch their hearts. Back to the mountain, finding peace.
Serunting then decided to isolate himself once again.
This time on a high and quieter mountain peak. There, he lived without cursing, without punishing. He simply cared for himself and found peace in solitude.
That mountain is now known as Mount Bitter Tongue, where a wise man found that true power does not come from conquering the world,
but from conquering oneself. Moral of the story. The story of Pahit Lidah teaches us that great power must be used wisely.
That words can be a weapon sharper than a sword, and that revenge only leads to loneliness.
In life, wisdom and forgiveness are the true paths to peace.
Pahit Lidah shows
us that true peace does not come from conquering
the world, but from conquering ourselves. Thank you for listening to the story of Pahit Lidah. Don't forget to like,
subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more folk tales. See you in the next story.